leader. There are many sources that have discussed the purposes, characteristics, and qualities of leadership that any leaders should have. However, have we ever wondered which gender is better qualified to be a leader? In the Quran itself, is there any verses that mentions which gender should hold the role of leader? What about female being a leader from Islamic perspectives? Let's take a look and stay tuned.
Female leadership in Islam is still a debatable topic among scholars. Therefore, it is an interesting subject to be discussed on. We will present a video and discussing about women in Islamic history, feminism perspective in leadership, position of women in Islam, and misconception on Muslim female leadership. We hope that all of you will get some beneficial input from it. First, let's find out about women in Islamic history.
In history of Islam, there is so many women who become scholars, hadith narrator and ahli sufi. For example, Sayyidatina Aisha. She narrated many hadiths and even companion of Prophet came to learn from her. Other than that, there is Rabi'atu Adawiyah as one of the greatest ahli sufi and have so many students. Muslim women in the history of Islam also contribute greatly in Dawah Islamiyah, such as Asma binti Abu Bakar, who played crucial role during Prophet Muhammad's hijrah into Madinah.
Next, we will move to feminism perspective in leadership.
The discussion of this part would be about the feelings of feminists toward the theories leadership that has been conducted by the male party. Firstly, from the point of view of Blackmore J. 1989, the construction of these leadership theories is based on research towards the exist leaders where we can see that mostly the leaders are male. So, the researchers conclude that every leader needs to own aggressive, rational, and powerful characteristics. In other words, they are aligned with the natural characteristic of how a man should look like, which is masculine. Why? Because the research was meant for the male, since it is believed that only male are qualified to dominate the leadership board. Sinclair A. 2014 state that knowledge has often been built on male experience and it is designed to serve man's interests. Feminism seeks to reinscribe and reinstate the experience of women in the historical and intellectual records. It means feminists want a restructuring of past studies, definitions, and the concepts in leaderships so as not to be biased toward male gender.
What is position of women in Islam? Here is the answer.
Talking about the position of women in Islam, Quran has stated a few verses that show women and men are equivalent in the eye of the God in terms of privilege and obligation. If we see in the context of religious duties such as daily prayers, fasting, and pilgrimage, women and men has no difference at all except in a certain circumstances. If we see in the political aspect, Islam never denied the right of women to be involved in politics.
Ismail in his article had listed two categories of involvement for women in Islam, which are wilayah ammah and wilayah khassah. Wilayah ammah is related to job scope and power that involves positions in the higher authority of the government. Generally, all Muslim scholars agree that women are exempted from this huge responsibility. It is basically assigned to men. However, there are some modern scholars who have claims that prohibition of women holding topmost political posts is never mentioned in any religious text in Islamic Sharia. The second one is wilayah khassah. Wilayah khassah is interpreted as job scope and power specifically or prevalence for women. Leadership role in this category is narrower and more specific, yet it can be put as indirect participation. Most scholars agree that women are permitted to take part in this type of involvement.
Nowadays, there are numbers of Muslim female leaders around the world who serve at different levels like organization, community, and even in the top position of the state. They are all living proof that show Islam never denied women to be in charge as a leader. Therefore, the position of leadership should not be based on gender. It should be based on characteristics, qualities, and traits.
Here are some Muslim female leaders who are participating in political arena. Number 1. Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina, also known by her married name Sheikh Hasina Wazid, is a Bangladeshi politician serving as the 10th Prime Minister of Bangladesh since January 2009. She had previously served as Prime Minister from 1996 to 2001. She is the longest serving Prime Minister in the history of Bangladesh. Number 2. Halimah Yaakob, President of Singapore. Halimah binti Yaakob is a Singaporean politician who is the current President of Singapore. She was elected in an uncontested election in 2017 Singaporean presidential election. Halimah was sworn in as president on 13 September 2017. Other than them, there are many examples of female head of state in this modern world, either Muslim or non-Muslim. This is a clear evidence of high status attained by female leaders in political arena around the world. And we have come to the important point to discuss, that is misconception on Muslim female leadership.
The biggest misconception on female leadership is that Islam prohibits women to be a leader. Classic scholars mostly have the same opinion. The only non-classic scholars who differ in opinion is Imam Tabari. He permitted women to be leaders even at the top position, and this is the opinion which gained popularity among the contemporary scholars. The difference of opinion regarding this matter, which lead to misconception of female leadership in Islam, is based on a hadith narrated by Abu Bakr. The classic scholars who hold the opinion that women cannot hold the position as a leader might interpret this hadith with literal meaning only and by the current condition at the time they gave out their opinion. So, contemporary scholars such as Ali in his article argue that at the time this hadith is narrated by Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, women as a leader is not norm yet. People only trust them for family matters. Therefore, in such social setting, daughter of Kisra will have a hard time to gain trust from her people time by time. This is why Prophet signaled the failure upon people who chose her as a leader. Therefore, the hadith is only Prophet's opinion on the case of Persian choosing a female leader in the midst of chaos in the Persia. This is not a provision of Sharia that the rules to be leader must be a male. In a nutshell, by understanding this hadith literally and contextually, we can come to the conclusion that women are never prohibited to be a leader by our religion, thus clearing the biggest misconception of female leadership in Islam.
As a result, we have a conclusion that women can be a leader in many positions. Sometimes, women are more qualitative than men, and the quality should be taken into consideration, not a gender. Islam is not a gender bias. Only in the state of premier, there is prohibition among scholars. Still, the prohibition is not a degradation towards women. This is because Islam denies putting heavy burden on women. Islam never underestimate women and view them as a lower creature than a man. This is clearly seen when Allah starts Surah An-Nisa by telling that men and women are equal in His sight. In a nutshell, a leader is not a matter of gender, but it is a matter of ability, capability, and capacity.